time no talk. I've been fielding a lot of questions lately about whether or not, well, first of all, where we've been and whether or not we're still driving and doing that stuff. Yes, I guess firstly, I'd like to apologize for those of you that are following and have not been seeing any uploaded videos lately. We've been incredibly busy, and I have been incredibly slacking in making videos. So what I'm going to do today is kind of run through for you what we've been up to since the last video that you saw, and then again promise that I will continue to start filming the loads that I can, and also maybe putting together some other videos, some just you know, trucking specific videos, things that you guys want to see, maybe questions that you want to know. So if you have a specific question that you'd like answered in a video, you know, maybe rules of the road, permit ordering, you know, just anything that you guys would like to see and have explained more, go ahead and throw a comment down in the comment section below with what you'd like to see, and once I get a few topics, I'll start piecing together a video on whatever subject that is. So the last thing that you guys saw from us was we had delivered the pumpkin press video. That we had delivered the injection molding machine in, we took that from Ohio to Iowa. That was the week before Memorial Day weekend, so we delivered that load, and there wasn't going to be anything moving over the Memorial Day weekend because all states have holiday restrictions for Memorial Day. So we headed to the house. Went to the house for Memorial Day weekend. We were there from, I think we got home Wednesday, I believe, Wednesday afternoon. So we were home Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then I think our next load took us out Tuesday, I believe. Or maybe we left out Monday night. I can't remember. Memorial Day weekend. So we leave our truck at the terminal, and then, you know, go to the house and whatnot. So I come back to the terminal after Memorial Day weekend, and as you can see, the shifter is 12 inches lower. So that was my surprise coming back from Memorial Day weekend holidays. I guess my dad didn't like the tall shifter as much as he said he was okay with it. So he chopped it down 12 inches, and well, let me tell you, I've had to relearn how to drive this thing. But it is what it is, I guess. You know, at the end of the day, it's just shifting. So it's not as gangster as it used to be, but I mean, it's all right. It doesn't bother me either way. So anyways, so we got back to the truck after Memorial Day weekend, and we went back to Kansas, where we had delivered the Goldhofer trailer. We went back there. We picked up that same Goldhofer that we delivered, and we took it back to the rental facility in New Jersey where it had come from. So that was a complete trip. You know, we took it out there, and then we did the run to Iowa, went home, and then we went back and took it back to where it came from. So after we delivered that piece, so that was the week following Memorial Day weekend. I think we delivered that on a Thursday, and then we headed back. Then we headed down to Savannah for a move that we had planned for a little bit of time. So these were 2 more rotors, and I was going to film these, but when I got the paperwork for this load, I made the assumption that they were identical pieces to the 103,000 pound rotor that I had already done a video on. And I don't really like repeating the same video over and over again, because it'll become boring for you guys just to watch a big cylinder get loaded on the trailer. Ended up being that those 2 loads were the heaviest loads that we've put on the trailer to date, and I really wish I could have filmed them, but you know, but it was too little too late, and that week was a little bit of a headache in and of itself. That was the week of the tropical storm that tore up the southeast area. It had come through, so we picked those up in Savannah, and we were taking them up to Charlotte And it had come through and dumped a pretty good amount of rain and stuff in North Carolina. And what North Carolina had decided to do was the state DOT, any overweight permit now had to go to bridge for that entire week. And what I mean by go to bridge is generally you have a threshold of, I would say comfortably you could say 120,000 pounds. Anything over 120,000 pounds goes to the engineers of the state, and they look at your route and they check all the bridges and they make sure that the route that you've been given will handle your gross weight. So normally if you're permitting, 90, 100, 105, 110, you don't have to do that. The permit will self-issue and give you its own route. But because of the tropical storm, because of the amount of rainfall they had had, and because of concerns with, ground washing away on bridges and stuff, they were sending all overweight permits for that week were going through bridge. So that really held up our permits being issued. So we were supposed to load the first piece Tuesday, deliver it Tuesday afternoon, go back, reload Wednesday morning, and deliver the second one Wednesday afternoon. Now our permit didn't issue until Wednesday for South Carolina and North Carolina. So we got the first piece loaded Tuesday, went to the truck stop because we did get our Georgia permits. Those self-issued. We were under their threshold, so they self-issued. We went to a truck stop and we had to wait for our permits. So we got them Wednesday morning about 11 or so, and we were able to shoot up to Charlotte and get there before they closed and get the first piece unloaded on Wednesday. And then we turned around and we came back down so that we were staged and ready to load the next piece on Thursday. Now, we got, I guess it was Wednesday afternoon, we got all of our permits approved for our Thursday piece. So that piece was no problem. We loaded it. They got us under the crane at about, what was it? It must have been about 9:30 or so. We were out from under the crane at 10 or 9:40 maybe. I mean, it took them maybe 15 minutes to load the piece, and most of that time was waiting for our trailer to fill up with air so that we could check our weights. Everything was good, so we went, we secured it, we tarped it, and we were rolling within an hour and a half tops. And we shot straight through and got that delivered Thursday, like 4 o'clock. So we don't like when that happens. We told the customers and said, hey, we'll have no issues loading this piece and delivering them on the same day. They were expecting a Tuesday pickup, Tuesday delivery, a Wednesday pickup, and a Wednesday delivery. The forces that be outside of our control kind of threw a wrench into that plan, so we were a day behind on everything, which really irks us when that happens. But at the end of the day, I guess there really wasn't much we could have done about it. They were voiding all overweight permits that had already been issued and resubmitting them through bridge. It was just it was a mess because of that storm. So anyways, so we delivered those two, and they were, I had told you, they're the heaviest pieces that we delivered yet. 106,580 pounds was the weight of each piece. So we were 147,000 and change, and it was it was awesome. We love, that's what we built this setup for, is to be able to pull silly heavy shit. And we love every time we get to up the bar a little bit as far as what we've done. So we had done 103,000 and change on the deck, and we were pretty happy with the way the trailer and the truck performed. And then we just did 106,580 on the deck, and it was the same story. It pulled just fine. I mean, you almost don't even notice that weight's behind you until it's time to stop, and then you really notice it. Alright, so we delivered those two things. We got them off Thursday. We went and we headed back to the house. We were only like 200 miles from the house. So we shot back down to the house. We got home Thursday night. Technically, I guess I got Friday morning. We got to the terminal at about 10:30 or 11 o'clock, and we got back to the house at about 1 or so. And you know, we had plans for Friday to take care of some stuff that that falls between, falls to the wayside while you're out on the road. And Friday morning about 9:30, I get a call. There's a power plant in Florida that had gone offline, and there was an emergency generator move that was going down there to take them a field generator. So this thing was picking up about 20 miles from my house. So, obviously when those calls come, that's what we do is, we're here to make money, we're here to move pieces, and you start turning down those kinds of calls, you stop getting them. So it was obviously no questions asked, just tell us when and where. So that tore up Friday. There was a lot going on, that's why I didn't even consider filming any of it. And then Saturday morning we got there, we loaded the piece, and it was kick the tires and light the fires and get down there as quick as possible. So now obviously we showed up with all our permits in hand, and we loaded, we tarped, and we rolled. So there was no real time on that piece. We got down there, we got out of their facility at 1:30 in the afternoon, and we got down to the power plant in Florida at about 8:30 in the evening. So we were told that they were going to unload us as soon as we got there. But when we got there, one of their crane operators had gone home, and the other crane was already in the midst of a pick on a project, so they couldn't unload us at that time. So we ended up sitting at their facility overnight. 7 o'clock in the morning, when their new shift came on, they picked the piece and put it in the machine, and we were gone. So then we went back to the house and had our little downtime that we had intended to have, ran some errands, was able to find a parking area that I could put the truck next to the house. So took care of some of that stuff. And yeah, so then after that, let's see, that was the emergency move. Then we went home, and then we just finished, and actually what we're on our way home from was a military power only. Now, I had talked to the people at this base. Now, generally speaking, I wouldn't, I didn't record any of this because normally when you're doing military stuff, they're pretty strict about photography on military bases and stuff. So I didn't even, the camera wasn't even charged. I just had it in its box. But when we got there, they couldn't have cared any less about it. So it wasn't actually picking up out of military installation. It was a private company that had a government contract, that this piece was a portion of that contract because it had to be used, and they were sending it back to the military because it was the end of their contract. So what this piece was it's a self-contained unit. So I'll throw up a picture somewhere in this general vicinity of what it is, but it's not a very great picture. So it's its own self-contained trailer and power unit, and inside this big box that you just saw is the controlling and winch, the actual winch with cable portion of an aerostat. If you don't know what an aerostat is, pretty much it's a blimp that is tethered to the ground. It does not free float, it does not have its own power. So like the Goodyear blimp that flies around stadiums and stuff, that's an actual blimp because it's got no tether. An aerostat is a smaller version, looks kind of similar, but it's always tethered because it can't control itself. So they raise it and lower it via this huge winching control module, which is what was inside the big box that we were carrying. The trailer and everything in itself was 64 feet long, 11 feet wide, 12 feet tall, and 94,000 pounds. So we left our trailer at the house, went up, picked it up, and there was a little bit of an issue with it not having had a DOT inspection, so they got the DOT inspections done, and then we rolled and we took that from North Carolina up to Maryland to where it's being stored. You know, aerostats. Let's go back to the aerostats. What they're used for is, come on, dude. All right, sorry. They are used for, what this project was using them for was to detect low out, like, cruise missiles. It's a cruise missile. This project specifically was a cruise missile defense project, so it would go up, I believe it said something like 2 miles, and its radar could detect low altitude cruise missiles. So if you know the difference in like missile types, you've got like your ICBMs, your intercontinental ballistic missiles, or that they go way up, they cruise, and then they kind of drop down onto wherever it is that, you know, whatever the target is. Those are tracked. You know, we have defense systems for those in the country that are high altitude satellites that can detect those kinds of launches and trajectories. However, for low level cruise missiles, there's really, you know, it's really iffy because they fly so low. And if you don't know what I mean, you can check into like a Tomahawk cruise missile. They fly almost nap of the earth, very low, very fast, and they are meant to directly impact whatever it is that, you know, is been fired at. So it'll kind of direct its way around until it gets to the target and then just hit it, instead of going way up and then coming down. So that's what this project was for. It was obviously a big testing project, testing the technology and the equipment. Anyways, that's what we did. We delivered it yesterday, and then we're heading home-ish. We're actually going a little bit out of our way. We're going to stop and see one of my uncles on the way home. I haven't seen him in a while. And we're kind of starting this little Father's Day tradition where we spend, if we're out on the road, we'll spend Father's Day here with him. And so we'll go, and some sort of animal that was once living will get cooked tonight. Some adult refreshments will be had. And then we'll wake up tomorrow. We'll have a nice home-cooked breakfast and hang out for a little bit. And then we'll go back down to the house and hook up to the trailer. And I believe we have another move on Tuesday that, depending on where it's coming from and going to, I'll try and film. So anyways, that is a brief rundown of what has been going on, you know. So yes, we're still going. Yes, we've been busy as heck. Yes, I've been slacking, and I apologize again for that. I do sincerely appreciate everybody that's been watching and been commenting and sending me messages saying that they want to see more videos, and that, you know, all that stuff. You know, I absolutely do appreciate it, and I am going to try and put out more content. So like I said in the beginning of the video, if you have ideas for things you want to see, information you want to know that maybe is more than you feel like, you know, reading in a response, you'd rather hear a video about it and see a video about it, throw it in the comments section, and I'll piece together what I can on it. I already intend to do a permit video at some point. I just, you know, lately it's just been so busy, and that's not really an excuse, but that's the reason I'm going to go with. So anyways, I hope you guys have been doing well, and I will hopefully talk to and see you guys soon. So thanks for watching.